I'm Christina from GPSL, and I'm going to be talking about our module for 40,051 for PTC Windchill. At GPSL, we're a PTC A&D partner, and we're experts in content technologies and workflows that support the creation, management, and distribution of technical information. So, talking about technical information, especially in the context of Windchill, you're probably familiar with the create, manage, and deliver paradigm. And the 40,051 module kind of follows that same sort of process. So you're creating content, you have your engineering content in your CAD, you have your illustrations, and then you have your XML or SGML. You're creating all of that content. Then you bring it into Windchill to manage it. Once you have it in Windchill, you're organizing it and correlating it into BOMs, into parts lists, into tech manuals. So once you have things constructed and connected and correlated the way you need, then you need to be able to deliver it out to satisfy your delivery requirements. So I'm going to be showing you the module and the way you can create, then organize, manage, and connect your content, and then ultimately deliver it out, in this case, to IADS. So 40,051, the specification comes with, XML files for authoring, style sheets for PDF publication. When you download the specification off of the LOGS website, you can get up and authoring on your own. That's not what this module is. This module is to take that farther. It is to enable you to do all of that in the PTC suite of tools and to do it easier. It's to make things less work. It's to do things like have everything configured so you can just get started, to connect to upstream data so that you can leverage parts information. You can do impact reporting, you can generate a RPSTL. It's basically just to make authoring in 40,051 easier. So it comes with things like configurations for your doc types and templates so you can get started in Arbor Text right away. Same thing for Windchill. It has templates for the products, the libraries, the informations and structures, and the publication structures. It allows you to generate work packages directly from the information structures in Windchill rather than having to do it from the XML and Arbor text. The workflows and the life cycles support that whole authoring process. So you can do change processes, review processes. Then we can support delivery, whereas you can leverage the PDF style sheet that comes with the specification and publish it out of Windchill. You can also go ahead and generate your IADS bundle that you need to deliver to make your IADM requirement. But the more important part, the part that you bring Windchill in for, is the digital thread capability, whereas you can leverage that upstream data. You can use the parts data in the EBOM and the SBOM to do impact analysis and see what has changed upstream that impacts your parts downstream. You can use parts lists to drive your RPSTL so that you're not having to hand author that XML work package. You're able to generate it automatically off of information that already exists. So I'm going to play a kind of high-level recorded demo. It's been chopped up a little bit for brevity to keep it high level and easy. If you see anything you'd want to dig into a little deeper, feel free to get with us after this and we can set something up. But I'm going to open an IADM and IADS that's been authored in Windchill and sort of show where it's at. And then I'm going to go back and open that content in Windchill, make some changes, create a RPSTL, do some LSA import, publish it out, and show how those changes then propagate out to IADS. So we'll see where we start, make a bunch of changes, and see where we end up. So I'm starting in IADS and I'm going to open the TM that I've published in Windchill. So I have my Dart missile, kind of expand a couple of the information modules to see the current state, how many work packages I have in this version of the book. Open up the theory of ops with some content I pulled off of Wikipedia. There are some images. So this is the current state of RTM. Now I need to make some changes. So I'm going to switch over to Windchill and go to my Dart missile product. I'm going to start in the information structure. The information structure is where I organize my information based on the product. So it's more by system and subsystem rather than the way I would organize the TM. So I'm going to find my theory of ops that we just looked at, and I'm going to edit it in arbor text. When I open it up, you can see my same Wikipedia content and my same images. I'm going to check the file out. And make a change that's really easy to see. Once I'm done, I can check that back into Windchill. Close this up. So I'm going to come back to my information structure, and now I want to create an entirely new work package. So when I select a 40,051 work package, it's going to show the templates for all the different kinds of work packages that are included in the module. And this goes down to even different versions of the spec. And when you select one of the templates, it has all of these attributes that the specification is expecting. And these get driven down into the XML. So work package number is going to get translated into your, I think it's WPNO attribute in the XML. And they're also going to live as attributes on the object in Windchill. So when I go to complete, if I haven't completed all the required attributes, Windchill's going to yell at me. It's going to make sure that I've filled out everything I need to have a valid work package. So this wants me to have a name for my file. So once I've created my file, it's going to insert it into the information structure. From here, if I was actually going to author it out in full, I would open it up in arbor text, as we just did with the previous one, and start filling in the different tags. But as this is a demo, we're just going to keep going. So I go ahead and I check in my change to the information structure. So now I need to actually update my book. I've created the elements, they're in my information structure, but I need to update the publication, what I'm actually going to deliver. So publication structure and TM are the same thing in 40,051 in Windchill. So under general information, there's my theory of ops that I just updated. Under ops, I think I want to add some controls and indicators. So I can access my information structure in the pane on the right. So I can drill down and find controls and indicators. And then I can insert it into my book on the left. Checking my change, checking all the time, just in case. And then I want to add the work package I just created. Want to make sure I'm in the right context on the left. Otherwise, I'm going to put that into ops. And I'm going to check in my change again. And a quick cutscene to creating a parts list. So this is how you can create a RPSTL from Windchill. So rather than opening the XML template for a parts list work package, you can create a parts list in Windchill leveraging the parts data that's already there and avoid having to fill out all of those tags. So again, you're going to get the 40,051 attributes as you're creating the object that the spec is expecting, that the style sheet is going to leverage to then render your RPSTL. Here's where we select which kind of work package we want to create. Again, that's going to kick off what the publishing process is going to do to it. Is it going to make it a RPSTL? Is it going to make it a different kind? That's what you designate in the parts list type. So I get it created. Now I open it up. So I have my parts list, just needs parts in it. So I'm going to add a BOM. In this case, I'm going to reach upstream and I'm going to use the service BOM for the EO seeker. From the SBOM, I can select all of the parts I want to include in my parts list and add them. Checking my change. Now I want to bring in an illustration. Checking my change again. Then I'm going to open up the illustration I've just added to the parts list. We're going to open up in Creo. So this is where the demo gets a little bit abbreviated because this is not a Creo demo, but we still want to kind of cover what you can do and how you can get the illustration for your RPSTL. But we're just going to kind of clip through this and do it in fast forward. So bringing in my illustration from the CAD that's in Windchill. From here, I can manipulate it how I want it to appear in eventually my item. So I'm going to start messing with the callouts. Through the magic of TV, it's going to go real fast. And I'm going to start exploding my parts. Again, we're gonna jump ahead, get some final touches on it. Get it to about where I want it. Add a couple of final callouts. Numbers are getting pulled from that list in Windchill. And when I have it all set, I'm going to save it off. Once I've saved my illustration, I'm going to bring it back into Windchill and add it to my parts list. So I'm going to create a new object for the illustration I saved off the CAD. Then I'm going to go to my parts list and bring it in. Surprisingly, I'm going to check in my change again. Then I can hop over to my TM. Now we're going to add the parts list we just created to the parts information section. I haven't added it to the information structure, so this time I'm going to search for it, but you can honestly add to the publication structure either way. It just depends on how you want to organize and access your information in Windchill. So I grab my parts list. I check in yet again. Then I'm ready to publish. So I select the TM at the root, and then I go to publish representation. So I will first generate my IADS bundle to update what we looked at first. So kick that job out. I can also run a PDF against the spec style sheet. I'm not going to really walk through that, show you that it's available. This is where you would generate the PDF and then you could download it. So we're going to switch over to IADS and see our changes. So back in our item, if we look at the theory of ops, here is my new change. If we look at maintenance, there is the new work package. Doesn't have any content in it, but there it is. And here is our RPSTL. I did not author any of that table. It all got extracted from the parts data in Windchill. And there is our image that we created in Fast Forward. But we can take the RPSTL generation one step further and make it even easier. So there are all of these attributes on the parts: NSN, cage code, smear code, all of these things that I don't want to type in by hand. So I could import LSA data to do this for me. I could take an 036 report spreadsheet that has these attributes, import it into Windchill, and let it do the work for me. So here I have 036 report spreadsheet. I look up my EO seeker, we can see it has some of these attributes I'm looking for. There are some of its children. So I want to bring this report in and let it populate this data for me. So if I come to this 036 report folder and import it in, and bring it in as a report spreadsheet, so once it's in Windchill, I'm going to check it out and check it back in just to initiate the workflow. When I go back to my parts list, I can see that those attributes have been populated. Windchill has correlated the part numbers and pulled those in for me. I haven't had to type those in, haven't had to look for them. It's done it for me. So if I switch over to my TM, I send out my IADS bundle again. If we open up the RPSTL, there's a lot more stuff that I didn't have to type for myself. Was able to leverage data from an LSA system, pulled into Windchill, put in a parts list, and then transformed for me into a RPSTL. So that is my demonstration on 40,051 for PTC Windchill.